So never.
Good. Right, okay. So you're both ready, yeah? All done.
Yep.
Yes, indeed.
Cool. Okay, right. Well, welcome to the show. So this week we have Evil Villain Games on the podcast. And that comes with Shane and Kirill. So hi Shane, hi Kirill.
How's it going?
Hey,
Look at that. So exciting.
happy to be here.
Oh, absolutely.
So I'll let you introduce it, but your game is Raven's Path.
Yeah. So Raven's Path is a tactical action RPG. It's the fastest tactical RPG ever. It's pixel art. It's a little bit like Tetris. So you have enemies coming down from the top of the screen, and you've got to rearrange your army to defend the bottom of the screen.
Yeah, that's actually good. It's quite a hard game to describe. Audio, it really helps if you can see the video on this. But like you said, it really is just action-packed pixel art Tetris with powers, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
It's really hard. It's really hard to explain without seeing it. But so this is at the moment this is a mobile-only game, correct?
Yeah, so we're launching on Android and iOS on May 5th.
May 5th. Oh, okay, that's not too long. What was that? 2 months? I've no idea.
Yep.
What month it
Just
was.
about.
Yeah, just about 2 months.
Awesome. Okay, that's okay. And what about you two? So tell us a bit about yourselves. Where have you come from to get to this point? What is your skill sets?
So yeah, we met a while ago back in high school actually.
Middle
just
school.
kind of. Oh, it was middle school, right? It was just like the last year of middle school. That's true. Yeah. So last year of middle school we met, and then we kind of started to make some artwork a bit later in high school type of thing, and then. Yeah, Shane always kind of messed around with code, and I always sort of made a lot of artwork.
Right. Okay. So I mean, how many years has this you've been working together now?
What is it, 7?
Something like that, yeah. I mean, yeah, depending on which point you count the start. But yeah, officially you've been making, I guess, games together for something like that, yeah.
Wow. Okay. So is this your first game together, or I mean, like proper full game together, or have you done lots of little ones in the past?
Yeah, I would say this is. So we had a few, I guess, a couple minor projects before, but this is the first thing we've approached professionally, and it's been in development for 4 years in March.
4 years. Wow. And
Yeah.
what is that? Part time, while you have jobs, or is this full time, or how much is that?
So for me, it's full time, and Kirill's been sort of on and off. I don't know if you want to explain that, Kirill.
Yeah, I've been sort of kind of holding a day job, 40 hours a week, and trying to put in from 20 to 30 hours a week on basically artwork directly. Yeah, so it's been more or less 2 jobs. But that hasn't been the whole time, so I kind of been leaning here and there on savings, or like trying to figure out ways to sort of be able to create a space where I can just put time into making artwork. Because that's kind of what we want to do moving forward.
Well, yeah, you picked the right thing for me. Anyway, it's fantastic. So, so with your game, so you've chosen pixel art. Is there a reason you chose pixel art at all, or was it just what you were comfortable in doing?
So initially, we thought, we had a very big scope for the game, actually much bigger than it is now. It's still very large, but I think a lot of people plan something ridiculous for their first game. So, yeah, initially we picked it as a simpler art style to go with, but we found kind of along the way that, pixel art is actually very difficult to make look good, and you end up doing, I'd say, just as much work as you do on regular 2D animation. And neither of us have done any pixel art before this game, so
Wow.
yeah, it's been quite a learning process.
Because if you look at this, and again, I highly recommend people go and see, you really do. Again, with all of these games, you're going to have to go and see them. There's no point just listening to a podcast about them. You have to go and have a look. So go and take a look, because I mean, well, I've played the game, of course, not as much as I'd like to. but the animation is so smooth with the powers and the movement. It's so smooth. I can't believe this is your first time in doing this.
Yeah, so we actually initially we were thinking about high definition artwork, but the pixel art we settled on is after we scaled back actually on the artwork that we thought we would do.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because we have 40 units in the game right now. Initially, we were thinking something like 400 units and a whole bunch of different civilizations past British mythology type of stuff. And with the artwork, I'm not sure at which point we made that decision, but we went with a high frame rate for the pixel animations. Like the walks are 8 frames, and the attacks and deaths are each 12 frames, and all units have a front and a back. So we did go with a higher frame rate count on those. Just it just felt more thorough. We could do a little bit more with the expressions of units and the way movements took place.
Yeah, well, but you can tell you've done the extra because, like I said, it feels so smooth, so nice to use, and it's so to try and explain it. It's you have like it's like a portrait because obviously it's for the phone, so it's a portrait sort of layout, and you have groups of enemies in rows, sort of coming down the screen, and your characters are at the bottom of the screen, and it's your job to control those characters and kill the enemies that are coming at you. And so that's roughly it, isn't it? And that's the basic of the game.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it for sure.
And then, of course, all your units have different powers. So you have a healer, you have can't remember what you call a person with a bow, an archer. that shouldn't have been that hard. An archer, you have a wizard, you have all these characters here, and it's actually at first you think, oh, this is pretty easy. I'll just move him here and he kills him. That's great. Oh no, because then you start having to realise that you've got to manoeuvre your healer in between the right characters to keep them alive without them getting hit. It's actually really, really tactical, isn't it? It's way more tactical than you think it. Just looking at it, you think you're just killing enemies as they come down to you, but it's far more tactical than that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you say like bringing that up because there are a lot of idle games where you kind of just let everything die, and we've been really careful to make sure it's difficult enough that it has a lot of strategy, and the healing part is really that's the main portion of the tactics is juggling health.
I noticed from the big skull of death when I first played it straight away. I'm like, oh, I'm dead already. This is only the first wave.
It is a bit unforgiving. Yeah, it immediately puts you up against a challenge. So just kind of make sure that you're there and paying attention and responding to it.
I think this is an indie dev trait I'm noticing.
The difficulty curve.
Yeah, like I need to punish people. It's like you've suffered trying to make the game. You need to punish people.
Yeah,
indie devitis, I call it. all of them I played. I have to put it down to the easiest difficulty level just to play it. But it's cool because, like I say, it's not just a mobile game that you're going to sit, click a few buttons, and get a high score. It really is, as we were saying before, this really is a proper game on mobile. Yeah,
we really appreciate you saying that too. There are no microtransaction purchases, nothing, no pay to win stuff. There's no ads. So we're going for right now. We're going for a 16 battle demo, which is actually the full game. Not the full game, but you can get access to everything in the game within those battles. It's about an hour to a half an hour. The full game is 25 plus hours, and we're putting that out for $4.99. So
$4.99.
Yeah.
Oh my god! I assume that price is gonna go up in the future though, because it's just too much of a game. It's not like you can't get across how much it isn't. It isn't a throwaway mobile game, and I would say.
When we designed it initially, we actually really did want to put in a lot of effort into making sure that there's replayability in the game, and like every time you start it, you kind of end up at a different spot, which we feel pretty happy with, to be honest. The gameplay loop worked pretty well to achieve that effect. And like if you restart it, you end up getting different units, and you end up like purging different units to level up because you have to
Okay.
sacrifice resources to get stronger, and you end up putting your army through like this sort of pseudo-forced Darwinian process where you kind of go, well, these things worked better for my playstyle, so I'm going to get rid of these other ones. And you just kind of end up in a very different spot every time.
Oh wow! So there is so once you've completed the game, and you restart again, what are you aiming for the second time? Is it different like is it high score based, or is it to unlock extra things, or where are you
So
going?
currently, there's no new game plus. We may do something down the line that loops it around, but there are two playthrough modes. So you have regular mode, which is relatively safe, and you can retry things. There's no punishment stuff in there other than losing a battle, and then we have hardcore mode, which when the unit dies in battle, they're gone, and you lose all the items. But as a benefit,
Oh
there's
man!
you get extra gold. There's higher rarity on everything you get. So there's a reason to play it the second time. And we've also noticed we've obviously had to play through it a lot of times ourselves to test everything, make sure it's all working.
Yep.
And yeah, every time we play through, you get different stuff. You may build a army of all healers the first time. The second time, you might have, I don't know, a bunch of battling rams or something like that. And it plays very differently. So
I like it. That sounds fantastic. And
yeah.
I mean, I'm just looking at the game now. I mean, again, because this, I can't really. I assume there will be a way. I'll have to figure out how to stream the game for everyone so they can take a look. But of course, the best way is just to go and download the demo and have a look yourself. But I've got it up here. And so, who's responsible? Because we haven't even touched on this yet. So you've got all. I don't know if the stream can see this. You've got all these cards here. So these are your power
Yeah.
cards. And again, that's a lot of detail going into those as well, isn't it? What is this? Retire unit. Oh, Blade Maiden. Oh, okay. So this is unlocking new attacks. Oh, Trebuchet. Definitely want that. But yeah, the animation. Again, you're not going to be able to see this very well. It looks beautiful. It looks fantastic.
Thank you.
Okay, so you said you started developing the game 4 years ago. Is that right?
Right. Yeah.
Just about, yeah.
Okay, that's 4 years launch window. It's pretty good for a full time and a part time. That's because you're always going to have stuff that you're going to want to add to the game, aren't you? It's learning when to leave it alone is a big skill.
Yeah, we cut back quite a few things, and we still kind of intend to maybe implement a few of them. We at one point wanted to have a multiplayer mode somehow incorporated in there, and we found that usually when someone finishes up the campaign that's available, you really haven't even seen half of the units and weaponry that's available. So we're probably going to end up adding a little bit more gameplay at the end there
Right.
in some ways, because the feeling you get left with is that you just want more, because you just kind of crafted this amazing tough army that finally managed to squeak through the hardest bits, and then there's just still more to discover after that.
So is there a way to
Which
see
is,
what you've missed out on? So is there like a percentage progress, that you've unlocked progress bar or blacked
So
out squares?
we're probably going to do a wiki. We may add a glossary sort of thing at some point. Yeah, you can definitely tell with the skills, though. Which ones you have, which ones you don't have.
Oh, so you can see the ones that you're missing.
Right. And you'll probably get a few legendaries by the time you get towards the end of the game.
Mhm.
And there's obviously more than a few of those. There's actually 8 legendary units. I believe there's 8 legendary items as well.
Yep. Yeah, if not more. Actually, I think there's more, because there's a weapon and a ring for each legendary, because we have the ability of each legendary and the stats of them, I think, as equipment.
Right, so it might be more like 15, 16. There's a lot of stuff in that game. We actually we have a bunch of Excel sheets and stuff to keep track of it.
Yeah, I don't envy developers, because whenever I speak to them, they're like, yeah, we've just got a couple of things to add. I just need to change a couple of things. I'm like, whatever. Who you lying to? I know it's not like that. You're obsessed with touching it. Stop touching it.
It is very hard to kind of stop adjusting.
Yeah.
Yeah. We there's some stuff in there now that we kind of wish we, not because it's great to have in there, but we wish we sort of did the quicker trial run with it being out and added it later, just to shorten the development time a little bit. But it's great to have it in there now because it's all done.
Yeah, it feels like you finished. What have you got left to do?
Oh yeah. No. I'm talking about things that I think it would have felt finished without. That we could have maybe added later, such as like buildings and stuff, right?
Yeah, I saw the building artwork actually.
Those things are complicated.
Yeah, the cute little buildings. I love those. Those are really fun to make.
Let's have a if I can find them on there. Yeah. Do you actually got a log as well here, haven't you, on the website? So
yeah. So
Dev log. There we go. So we could load that. And you're updating what, once a month at the minute, something like that. So you got
so we're usually doing about once a month updates. Pretty sizable updates.
Where's your buildings? Come on, software. Let me scroll down. Shouldn't be this hard. Okay. Well, while I'm looking for that, so this is built on Unity. Is that right?
Yep.
Yes.
And was that the only choice that you had? I mean, was it obvious that you used Unity, or was there another option that you were looking at?
We looked at Blender, I think.
That was for a different game, but at some point we actually looked into Blender game engine. It wasn't. They've actually since retired Blender game engine entirely.
Right, that did happen.
But yeah, I think it was about 7 years ago we started using Unity, so we were familiar with it by the time we started this game, and I think currently it's the easiest, most efficient mobile engine.
I'm surprised.
So yeah,
I know it's big on the desktop, obviously, but I'm surprised it's works so well on mobile. Yeah,
it's actually one of the better. I don't know. I'm not sure what support Unreal has added since, but it was ahead on mobile last time I checked. Unreal obviously has amazing graphics, and if you're a AAA studio, it's kind of a must-have.
Yeah, fair enough. So, is it just you two, or have you, like, with your audio and anything else? Has anybody else come in and helped you do anything in the game?
We have a guy doing the sound effects and the music, which we're really happy with.
Yeah, the music is great. Yeah, I haven't actually touched on that yet.
Yeah, we actually can't announce who that is yet, but we're going to do that soon. So.
Oh.
Yeah,
wow.
That'll be fun.
I wasn't aware Madonna was doing soundtracks, but cool. That's cool. Oh, okay, so that's the only other person, yeah? It's just you two and...
Yeah, more or less us two, yeah.
And where have you been getting most of your testers from? So
we had an open beta for about 9 months, so we get a lot of them from Discord, Twitter, Facebook. It was free to download for a while. That's been awesome. We made a lot of changes based on that.
Okay.
Yeah, the feedback has been priceless to get. The difficulty modes we mentioned, the hardcore mode actually came out of that, where we actually had a death mechanic within the game prior to the testing, and it just kind of came back that it wasn't doing what it was supposed to be.
Right.
But like experienced players would just avoid it, and players that were new would just kind of be hindered by it. So we ended up settling on more or less just splitting the game into 2 different experiences.
I see. Right. So if you wanted the punish yourself mode, you can do it yourself.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. Some people do. It's God bless. Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Fine. I'm gonna load it up now. Take me 10 seconds to die, I'm sure. So has anything massively surprised you while making the game, or has anything been way harder than you thought, or easier? I'm sure it's not easier than
surprises. I mean, we I think time, we've taken a lot of time stuff has always been surprising. Like we said a lot of times, beginning of the game we said, okay, 6 months. We'll take 6 months. We'll make something for mobile. And we're gamers. We really like complicated games, and we kept adding to it. And we just kept saying 6 months for about 4 years, and here we are.
Now you're here.
So, I don't know, Curl, do you want to talk about the units at all, or?
I mean, the units were fun to design. I was gonna say, if anything, I wish I spent a little more time questioning whether pixel art would have been easier to do. Because during the time we worked on this, we've kind of touched a few times on three-dimensional art and how the animation for that works, and I'm not really convinced we spared ourselves that much time by doing pixel art. And I was actually, I mean, I think both of us were actually way more experienced with three-dimensional art when we went into making this product. So like I had literally never done pixel art before, and I had to learn all the rules and like learn all the little things you have to follow to do it right, which in the end it worked out okay, but I really could have used my strengths better if I had just like, I don't know, we just didn't consider 3D as much as we wanted to. But the units kind of sort of, I don't think I was surprised by what happened. I feel like I've been told when you make a game for the first time, you end up sometimes making it multiple times. So like, that's more or less what happened. Like I ended up making units, like the simple designs of the idea we wanted behind them, and then I ran through it again, which was another year of making units, and added like complex animations, and then we actually added a color changing mechanic that we needed to implement correctly. So that you could identify, if you have like the same exact unit, a whole army of, you could have them all look different, which was useful since you could basically customize every unit to do almost whatever you want, depending on what you have as resources, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, because I was going to say, pixel art, it kind of looks like an easy way to animate, doesn't it? You think, well, it's pixel art, so it doesn't have to look perfect. But it's actually probably way harder. Because
it's like physical. It's
it's a real. People are really passionate about it. So if you make it look terrible, God, you're going to pay for it. People are going to be complaining like hell.
Yeah,
right.
It's very strange. I would say it's a lot less technical. Like you don't really need to know any code or really anything specific to implement it. It's very linear in the way it's just like literally one frame after the other, and you put every pixel down where it is. Whereas with like three-dimensional art, you put a lot of work into setting up an asset, but then you can do a lot with that asset. Whereas with pixel art, you basically just have 12 images, and that's about it, and you do what you can with that.
But if it's 3D, it's up to you how it looks, isn't it? It can animate any way you want it to look. But where if it's pixel art,
it just sort of,
it has to follow the rules, otherwise it just looks rubbish.
Yeah, and like there are very specific rules. You did have to like a lot less colors, making sure everything is clean, the perspective of things, and we tried not to. Like you have to keep like the pixel size exact, which was a little bit of a juggle. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure. But yours looks so smooth, and is that just down to the frame rate you're running? Is that simple as that?
Yes, to be honest, it's just that there's a lot of frames. So like that allows, when someone picks up their foot, you have more than just like a jump from, like the bottom to the top. So there's just a lot of frames that provide a lot of fluid motion there. And I had a lot of fun with the deaths of units. A lot of games like to do just like you just kind of have a little flash and the unit is dead and gone, and that's perfectly fine. But for some reason, I leaned into actual deaths where like I gave them facial expressions and like I made them look all like surprised and like upset, and like I think we have a
surprise,
we have a unit
death.
that like, yeah, exactly. We have a unit that like I think is a horseman, and like the guy dies and the horse gets all like, oh my god, the thing on me died, and he just like hides and tucks under. I found that one pretty cute.
I
Just
think
kind of sits there waiting.
there was a period where Curl started animating deaths, and I think you said something like, I'm drawing death all the time now. And it feels very strange.
It was very strange, yeah.
Please keep an eye on me.
Yeah, I mean, like, you do stuff like that, like, sometimes it's like your game calls for, like, a bunch of, like, if you're working on, like, a fighting game, you have to have a bunch of, like, deaths and stuff, and you sort of, like, have to spend, like, half a year researching how blood spurts and, like, how things fall, and, like, it's kind of strange, but a part of the industry, I guess.
Well, yeah, I'd like to see the effects of the Mortal Kombat developers at the time.
Yeah, exactly. Some
What
of
have
those
you done
things...
today? Well, wow.
It's like I'm just watching a bunch of butchering videos.
Yeah, well, I've removed several body parts. Oh wow.
But that's probably also why I liked adding a bit of extra almost cuteness to it. Like there's a lot of cute bits and pieces. Like I really like to mix a feeling of like a cuteness with kind of mortality slash a bit more morbid sort of feeling, where like 1 second it's smiling at you and the next like you've killed it and it falls and stuff like that. I always like messing with that. Since cute is good and it's fun, but like there's kind of hidden undertones to this game where I mean it's war, you're fighting, it's a continuous line. We
Yeah,
called it Raven's Path because like, a bunch of carrion birds would follow you and collect all the corpses you eat and sort of thing.
that was going to be one of my
So
questions, but what?
yeah, exactly. That's yeah, that was an interesting name we settled on. And the thought behind it was like, every army that's fought probably and most definitely had carrion birds chasing them because they simply left uh, you know, lots of carnage sort of thing. So I liked mixing that with cuteness
I was going
in a
this
way.
is taking a very dark turn now.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, you're right, and but this is what makes it. I think this is why I said that when you play it, it feels like a real game because it's not just it's a mobile game, quick, bright colours, funny sounds, great, and that's all, a lot of games are like that. That's all they are.
Yeah.
But this has definitely got an undertone to it, which is very cool, and again rare.
Yeah, we definitely tried to design something that challenged a bit of the norm on the app market that was, 4 years ago. Because I played a few app games, but the feeling I was left with was very different than, a normal full game that I would just play and like actually be like, oh my God, this is great, and I want to tell people about it, and like it just inspires me more so. The app games that were out there were a bit less flushed. Not, I don't know if the word is flushed out. It seemed like what they were aiming for wasn't that full feeling of this is an experience and I can take it whichever way I want, and yeah, just kind of fall in love with it.
I think a lot of what's happening there is that premium games are. Oh, no one that I know buys a premium game on mobile. I haven't bought a premium game on mobile. There are some really great premium games on mobile.
There are.
There really are some great full premium games on mobile. And it's tough when you're doing a free game to figure out how to monetize it. Not to say there aren't, a lot of big companies taking advantage of whale purchasing and stuff like that. That's when one person spends thousands of dollars, and they capitalize on that. So yeah, the market it's a tough market right now to make a full PC type game on.
Because I think with the mobile games, there tends people either try and make it like I've seen some of they're either way too in depth with like proper 3D control. They try and put virtual thumbsticks on games, and you like playing
Yeah.
PUBG on your mobile and all this, and it's just rubbish. Just wait till you get home, play on your PC. I mean,
Yeah, it forces
Yeah.
it forces it on there, sort of thing. Yeah.
they're trying to make PC games onto a mobile device, and that's probably why I don't play mobile games. Or the other one
Yeah,
is Candy Crush, and you're just tapping
Yeah,
colours.
there's a lot of clones like that. Yeah.
So it's like you found like you've kind of gone for a middle ground. Of there's a lot of depth to it. There's a lot of playability to it. It looks great, but it's still something you can just play on your phone when you've got 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, we did a lot we definitely started with the controls. We one of my big things early on was it shouldn't have disconnected controls. You shouldn't have, obviously when you're using a thumbstick or buttons on a phone, you can't feel them, so
No.
you're going to miss a lot. If what you're moving is something you can see, there's never going to be any missing. So that was big. And then just making sure that it was as tight as it could be.
Yeah, and it's all very intuitive, isn't it? It's a case of clicking on the unit you want to move and swiping him up, or right, or left, or whatever you want to do with him, and then you just click him to do powers. I mean, that's what you think. I didn't even have to look at that up. If you know what I mean. As soon as you load it up, it's just right. swipe them to where you want them to go. It makes total sense.
Yeah. So that was definitely a priority early on.
Good, well, it works.
Oh, that's good to hear.
Bit
Yeah,
late
that's
now.
definitely good to hear. Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, it doesn't work. Right, start again.
Yeah.
4 years. Yeah,
Can't move anything. Tried to play your game, but
How is it for scaling on different devices? So, for tablets or the 10 million Android devices, that variations there are, does it scale easily enough, or do you have to put a lot of work into changing it?
so I could talk about that for a little bit. We don't do. I don't think we're doing Android tablets. Apple actually has a nice feature that allows you to full screen portrait on a iPad, which is great. But one thing that came up during development was they added notches to smartphones about halfway through. So it did help a lot. Unity has a screen space feature, which is huge. I mean, it senses the phone size and adjust things, but you have to make sure that the top area where the notch is has some kind of graphics that are compatible with that space being cut out. So we had to move a lot of stuff out of the way, add some faders and things to the drop downs, and generally they actually also changed the entire aspect ratio of phones. So phones used to be 16 by 9, just like your computer screen, or any monitor has been for the past 10 years or so.
Yep.
And they're
You thought you were
actually
safe.
Yeah, exactly. So now they're actually 9 by 18, or 18 by 9.
Wow.
Yeah, and I guess it's a VR thing. They tend to have more condensed bezels, which are sort of like pixels on the edges of the screen, so that if you were to put it on your face, it sort of has a bit more of a globe perspective.
Right, okay.
So yeah, dealing with those two, there's actually a few menus where we had to draw a little extra grass at the bottom, or extend some path or a few rocks at the bottom just to make them fit on the longer. Yeah, it was. We had to do a lot of little extra bits and things on different menus when that's came out.
And how does pixel art scale? Does it scale like a vector graphic, or is it, have you got?
Oh no.
How? No.
No.
Okay. What have I done? What have I said?
Yeah, no. I mean, so vector graphics actually has infinite pixels.
Yes.
It's like a math equation.
It just fills them in as you stretch it out, doesn't it?
Right, exactly. Whereas pixel art, people tend to want it to be, for good reason, an equal amount of pixels in each graphic on the screen. So you can't really stretch it. If you need to make it longer, you got to draw it longer or draw it bigger.
Yeah, exactly. So do you scale the pixels so they're bigger, or do you put more pixels in between the bits you're trying to fill?
You have to redraw it with more pixels, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you have to put more pixels in there. Because bigger pixels can, they just break immersion, because you see things that are simply, it's like the building blocks end up looking different sized, so that ends up looking, it just breaks immersion more so.
So you didn't want it to look like Minecraft?
You simply have to, you simply have to redraw and add more pixels in.
Man, but how did you do that for all these different sizes?
So what ends up happening? Well, I guess there's really only two major phone sizes. The tablets end up running it in sort of a virtual box where like the sides of the screen are blacked out, and yeah, we had to move some of the graphics around where the notches are. But you are missing a little bit of artwork at the bottom on some menus if you're using a 16 by 9 phone versus a 16 by 8 phone or 18 phone. So, 9 by 18 phone.
Yeah, whatever the other one is.
Yeah.
Oh,
right.
Man. Wow. God. See, that's the sort of stuff you don't. Well, you definitely didn't think about it because it didn't exist at the time. Did it? That's a new problem.
No. Yeah.
Not exist. Yeah. Takes adapting.
And so, what is this is actually the last question here, but it's not. I've got a couple of more. what is the one thing that you spent way too long doing in the game? Has
I would say honestly planning. We planned a lot of stuff way before we had experience with doing that stuff, and
so you
a lot
mapped the
of it we
game out
cut.
for a year and then thought better start this.
Well, we started it immediately, and then uh, we did spend a lot of time. Like we had our format early on was we would meet every Tuesday and sort of talk, and everybody would get very excited. We would sort of write a lot of stuff down, and it's not that it took a lot of time, but when we ended up doing it, that took a lot of time. And when you're working on stuff, you kind of go into this mode where you're done with something out of the way you want it. You look at the list and you go, okay, that's next, and you start doing that. And it was a while before I think it was like 2 years before we started saying, okay, how much of this are we really gonna want in the game?
Yeah.
Like, how much of it is useful?
You got to put a stop point on there somewhere, haven't you?
Yeah, and I mean,
Basically, yeah.
sometimes your ideas, you put them in, and it actually ends up taking away from something else. Maybe it confuses the player, or there's two ways to do the same thing, and yeah, you want to cut one of them so that it feels cleaner, and you don't have to think as much while you're playing.
Yeah, well, but I say that's the stuff you don't think about until you're actually doing it. Then you realise, oh man.
Yeah,
That's about.
exactly.
Okay. So the last couple of things really. Best places to find out about your game, or you guys, or where's the best place to get in updates from you?
So you can follow us on Twitter at Evil Villain Games. We've got a Facebook, also Evil Villain Games. We're on Instagram as Evil Villain Games. We've got a Discord that you can join from our website, which is evilvillaingames.com.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, if you're watching this podcast, this is a good place to find out about us.
Absolutely. I hope so.
So,
I'll put all that in the show notes as well, the links there. So
yeah.
and what about well, Twitter? Do you have personal ones, or you just want people to follow the?
Yeah, I mean, you're welcome to follow my personal. It's just Shane Denhart. Terrell's, what are you? Are you KZ?
KZ Passive, yeah. So yeah, personal ones are they're just a bit more personal. Like I post like other types of artwork on my Instagram and things like that. So it's just a little. We do have the business accounts, sort of handling that, and
Of course.
yeah.
It's just nice to know. That's it for me. I like to kind of know who's making the games. This is one of the reasons I'm doing this. It's nice to
Absolutely.
talk to people and find out what they do and what they had for dinner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh man, what am I gonna have for dinner?
Oh, mine's been and gone, so I'm all right. And what about so once this is launched, now I know you're going to have lots of things to do, but have you got any plans for more games in the future, or is this are you done now?
Oh no,
Oh,
there's
no.
gonna be a lot more. Yeah, we're
Yeah,
gonna
there's
keep making a
definitely
lot.
more.
Oh really?
So we have plans
So-
for supporting Ravensbath for a while too. We may add some things along the way. Definitely going to be more end game content. It's 25 plus hours now, but there's room for us to add more levels. We're very well set up to scale it out a little bit more at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And then yeah, we're prototyping a few things in the background. So that we'll be posting about that a little bit after.
More
release, I'm
secrets.
sure.
More secrets.
Yeah,
We're trying to more secrets. We are trying to kind of experiment with different types of art styles and trying to kind of figure out what rules we can bend with the different projects, while still trying to use at least a good chunk of what we've learned from this one. So we're probably going to try to mix some of the things we learn here and try to make something that's a bit more accessible for just more systems, so we can
Right.
get what we made into the hands of more people.
Yeah,
So-
so we'll
yeah.
definitely be moving to support PC and consoles if we can, and we'll try and still support mobile. But yeah, we're either way we'll be adding a lot of stuff to this as it goes on
Oh,
to
yeah.
Ravensbath.
And is a PC port possibility in the future?
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Yeah,
do
we've
it,
got
do
a
it as a
control
threat.
scheme. So
Just threaten
yeah,
people.
definitely possible.
If you buy the mobile game, we'll think about the PC version.
Yeah,
More or less.
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
yeah, we'll
Of
be
course.
porting it as soon as we can, depending on how everything goes. So, and
Absolutely.
that'll be very good for the mobile players to have that port. It'll help support everything and help us add new content. So,
Okay. And is there anything that um, are you looking for any help with anything? I know you're right at the end now, but is there anything that people can help you with? Promotion or
yeah,
future
so
games or anything?
promotion right now for us is huge.
Hmm.
We're, you know, retweets, shares, any
All,
likes or any
all the usual
comments.
stuff. Interactions.
Yeah, interaction,
Interactions, indeed.
and any press or yeah, anyone who's interested, really. Even just tell your friend about it. All that stuff helps. Indie game promotion is probably the most difficult portion of it. So
Yeah, 'cause that's definitely not something when you start thinking about creating a game, you don't think, okay, but how can you tell people about it? You're not worried about that, are you? I mean, you're just
right, yeah,
worried about the deaths.
Oh yeah, indeed. It does take it does take a different type of perspective because you have to look at one point into getting what you made into the hands of people. And we've been pretty lucky being near Boston, kind of meeting developers and people in the industry that have gone through similar situations than us, and
Okay,
that's been very helpful.
so you've had some that's good. And what's the uh, you were at PAX or you're going to PAX or I'm out of the loop of what's going on over there. So
yeah. So I actually attended PAX a couple days ago on Friday. So that was fun. We didn't have a booth. We're hoping to present something next year. Um, but yeah, I met a lot of cool people there. It was a fun time. There's actually a local group called Boston Indies,
mhm.
which if you're near Boston, you should check out. They're really supportive. They have a booth there with a bunch of indie games they're showing. Yeah,
Okay, cool. Well, it's
Yeah,
probably a little bit far for me, but anybody else nearer
yeah,
should definitely check it out.
yeah. Anybody near Boston, we go to those pretty often. So if you want to meet us or get to meet some really really amazing developers and like people that know how to market or how to just help you price what you're making in the most intelligent way, we really recommend Boston Indies. They're amazing.
There you go. Awesome. Okay, and so finally, is there anything that we haven't covered that you really wanted to get across, or anything you wanted to add about your game or yourselves, or anything at all, really?
um, I guess I'll do a shout out to Indie Dev World Order for kind of connecting everybody that we met recently.
Great, great Discord.
I know you're a part of that too. So um, yeah, they're great. If you're that's a global thing too. So if you
Yeah.
need support, that's a great community to be part of as well.
Awesome. Good. Yeah, I agree.
Um,
It's a fantastic resource in there. Wow.
yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for you guys. Your game is lovely, and again, I don't play mobile games, and yours is the only one installed on my phone. So there you go.
That's
Well, it's an honor.
pretty
That's it.
awesome.
That's
It's
top of the
definitely an
tree.
honor.
It's top of the tree. So, yeah. Again, it's always going to sound fake this bit, but I really do recommend people go and play this because it is really good. I mean, yeah, I'm not going to say yeah, rubbish this, wouldn't bother. So, but it is fantastic. Really, honestly, go and check it out. Go to the website, check out the videos, and especially if you play mobile games, I mean, why would you not play this? Yeah, Jesus. So awesome. Well, okay. Well, again, thanks for letting me play your game.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope you enjoy it. Yeah,
Absolutely, and well,
Yeah,
hopefully,
absolutely. And thank you so much for your time. And if anybody does want to like come and talk to us in the Discord and give us feedback or anything like that, the game will be out on May 5th, and we would love to hear any type of feedback from anybody. Just because we do take things to heart and we do like to improve what we've made.
perfect. Excellent to know. Right. Well, awesome. Well, thanks very much for joining me. And hopefully we can do maybe a follow up in the future. You can, when you've got your next project launched, or you can come on and tell us how you've gone with the game. That'd be nice to hear.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
we'd love to.
Just keep it going. Again, this was live streamed, this podcast. So if anyone wants to check out the live stream, it will be on Twitch for the next couple of weeks. If you want to see the more video based one, it's just my face mainly, so I'm lucky. But and it will be on YouTube as well. So I'll get this on YouTube as well, so it'll be there forever. Does anything ever get deleted off YouTube? I don't think so.
That's a good question.
Depends on your copyright material, and yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll test that. We'll upload it and see how long it lasts.
Oh, I'm sure this will be fine.
Right, awesome. Well, thank you very much, and I'll stop the recording there, and I'll speak to you next time.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you.
Cheers, guys.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
No problems.